guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this morning's recipe, we're going to make what's called a slow cooker Birria tacos. So all you need is you just need a few ingredients. Now, before I discuss the before we go on into the recipe, let me explain to you what this is. This recipe is essentially shredded, it's what you think, right? Shredded tacos with a whole bunch of flavorings, a whole bunch of different flavorings going on. Now, I will say it is spicy, but it's gonna be so good. And essentially what it is it's shredded beef tacos, essentially, but they're fried at the end, and it's gonna be so good. So I'm gonna explain to you what goes into the recipe, and then we'll basically build it. So the only thing that goes into the recipe, and I'm gonna put my crock pot back here, just the base, because I like to usually have it out. All right, so I'm gonna explain to you what goes into this, and then we'll basically build it. So your ingredients you're going to need, and I'm gonna kind of, show you, explain it to you. You're going to need a chuck roast, a chuck roast here. You're gonna need a half a jar of pepperoncinis, 14 ounces of beef broth, a half of a yellow onion, a half of a packet of au jus gravy mix, and then a half a packet of this, I don't know how to say this, Korean, a half a pack of the Korean seasoning mix. You also need, and that's it. That's all you need. That's all the ingredients for this dish. So let's go ahead and start building it. Now, what I've done, I have already sprayed out my slow cooker with the oil, with some cooking oil spray, and I've already sliced up my onion. So this recipe essentially is an easy recipe to make. Now, is it hard? No, it's not that hard of a recipe to do, actually. It's very simple to do. I'm going to put my crock pot back here until we're ready to use it. Because the only thing I really want in this recipe video is just this. Because this is basically what we're doing. It's just the base of it. So we're going to go ahead and get our gloves on, and we're going to work. But, of course, I'm following the directions of the book, right? So it says, in a crock pot, we're going to add the meat and the seasoning packet first. That's the first thing we're doing. We're not adding the onion and nothing else besides just what I just said. We're just adding the meat and the seasonings first. We're going to do this in order, okay? So we're going to take our gloves. This is going to be a very, very simple recipe. It's going to be very, very delicious, okay? But we're following the directions of the book. So we're not just going to throw ingredients in, all willy-nilly. We're going to follow the directions of the book. So not going to make this recipe right, okay? And I know the camera, I have the camera far back, but there's a reason. It's because I wanted you guys to see all the ingredients. So first thing that goes in is the meat, okay? So this big chuck roast, which I think, so this big piece of meat, I probably have to, nope, not open, nope, I gotta open it. Alright, so this big chuck roast here goes in first. Now, with chuck pot roast, you need to cook it low and slow for it to become tender. So I'm gonna cook mine on high for 6 to 8 hours. Now, if you don't want to cook your meat for 6 to 8 hours, then you could definitely do a 4-hour cook, but it says 6 to 8 hours. So I'm gonna cook mine on high for 6 to 8 hours until the meat definitely falls apart. Probably gonna do 8 hours because that's just how I roll. I like, whenever I cook like meat, like pot roast, like if you see my pot roast recipe video, then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. I like to cook the meat longer because I think it comes out more tender that way. Versus cooking your meat on high, versus cooking your meat for 6 hours, because it's 10 o'clock right now. We're probably not going to get this recipe done until about like 10:45-ish, close to 11. We'll see though. Okay, I'm going to need these scissors quite a bit to open this meat. There you go. Alright, So the meat, including the juice. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this meat, and this is why we have it sitting on here. I'm just gonna pop it up in there. Okay, now there is fat. Remember, the fat equals flavor, is what I always say. So we're not gonna get rid of the fat. So now that the meat's in there, okay, we're following the directions of the book. Now I'm still gonna put my gloves on, but I can't remember cross-contamination. Once you touch the meat, you can't really be touching everything else, okay? So it says now to, let's see, add, wait, hold on. Okay, it says to add the seasoning packet. Now, we're only doing half of this. Oops, that's okay. Half of this, but this is gonna go on the chuck roast itself, okay? So this is gonna go half. Now, when I say half, I mean like I'm gonna season it really, really good on both sides, because both sides have to be seasoned really, really well. Okay? Don't worry, it's gonna taste good. Now I know this might look strange right now, what I'm doing, but I promise you, you're gonna love it. And then the rest of the seasoning just on the meat itself, okay? So just, and I know it smells real good actually. This is actually a seasoning that I've actually like never heard before, but we're using it in today's recipe. This is the au jus gravy mix seasoning packet that I have right now. Now we're only using half of it, and we're spreading it on the meat, so that way the meat gets seasoned. Now, same idea, but with this. This is the Korean like seasoning, and it's for the same thing, but I have a dirty hand, so I can't use my dirty hand for this. I gotta use my clean hand. Okay, but same thing, season your meat just a little bit and spread it into that meat real good. Get it in here. Now this is gonna cook for a long time, so you do not have to worry about, oh, am I seasoning this back, or I'm sorry, oh, am I not seasoning this enough? Because it's gonna get seasoned while it's cooking, both sides, okay? Now, something that I've learned in my many years of cooking is to season both sides of the meat, okay? That's just what I do. If you don't really like, if you're buying like a roast that is like boneless, or excuse me, that has a bone in it, you still want to season it, because this is, like most people always say, this is the only chance you get to season the meat itself. And they're right, okay? Because once it starts cooking, you do not have a chance. This is the only chance you get to season your meat. So if you don't season your meat, then obviously it's not gonna turn out right, you know? So this is the only chance you get to really like season the meat itself. So this meat, we're done with step one. Step one was we only had to season the meat first. That's step one. Step one is done. Now we go to step two, okay? I'm gonna wash my hands. Actually, you know what? No, not. It's a bad idea, because I'm gonna put this onion in, but I'm gonna take these gloves off. Then I'll worry about washing my hands after I'm done touching that onion. I think the next step is done. I gotta do that. Okay, so step one was seasoning the meat. It's gonna be so good. Now step two, let's see, what do we do next? We're gonna add thinly sliced onion. Okay, so we're gonna add the onion in now. Now, with onions, you have to keep in mind, you cannot touch your eyes after, you can't go, once you touch onion, you cannot touch your eyes after that. Because what happens is, if you go to touch your eyes, then they're gonna burn, I'm telling you. I've never made that mistake. I don't even think I've made that mistake before myself. But we don't wanna touch, we obviously don't wanna touch our meat, because our meat, oh my God, because our meat is really well seasoned now. And if you guys are like me, I've honestly dealt with onion before, so I know what onion is now. And onion will sometimes make you cry, so we're gonna try not to get that feeling, you know. All I'm doing is I'm just covering the meat essentially with these onions, and we're trying to cover them so that way the onion will get in there. But so that way the onion is covered by the meat. Now this is gonna cook on high for 6 to 8 hours. Now if you're someone like me who likes their meat cooked really, really low and slow, then do 8 hours. It doesn't matter. But 6 to 8 hours is not between that, is our goal range. Okay? So now is the time where we're gonna wash our hands, and then we're gonna put in everything else. We still have to do the pepperoncinis, Actually, no, I'm gonna do those now too. So the pepperoncinis for this. Now I know I said I was gonna wash my hands, but we're not. We're just gonna go ahead and finish because I gotta wash my hands with these too. The pepperoncinis, we're not adding all of them. We're only adding in half. So watch. We're gonna pull these out. Ooh. See? And we're gonna put them on our we're gonna put these on the top of the onions and the roast, okay? Now this recipe we've never made before, but I know I've eaten this recipe. I've eaten a recipe like this before where it was cooked in the pressure cooker, and my mom, she actually made it for me. She pressure cooked it. And it's a process to get this. It's a process to get it going and cooking and all that. But we're not adding all of them. We're only adding like a few of them. And I love these so much. They're so good. These are just for the flavor, okay? So we did it until it was about like here. You can see like how we have more in our jar. We see we still have a couple in the jar, okay? But we have some in there. Now what I want the pepperoncinis to be like in the liquid, or not on the liquid. I'm sorry. I want them to be like I want them to be on top of the onions. So now we're gonna add in our beef stock. And we added the pepperoncinis. That was only half of them. We did half the pepperoncinis. Now we're gonna go ahead and add our beef broth. Now the beef broth, like I said, you only need, how much beef broth? 14 ounces of beef broth, okay? So this is the beef broth here. We're gonna add it. This is essentially your broth. Now I'm not adding it like to like where the meat is. I honestly, like, you don't want it to cover your meat, like be just swimming in there. You want it to be, you want it to cover. So this is what your crock pot is gonna look like. I have to actually go grab the actual pot, and I'll show you guys this again after I'm done washing my hands. But see, that's what it looks like so far. Okay, so now what we're gonna do. Now, of course, sometimes with these recipes that I show you how to make, sometimes your onions will kind of fall off your meat, but that's fine. If they fall off, it's okay, because as this cooks on low for quite a while, this will get more and more tender. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands, and then I have to grab the base to the crock pot, and we're gonna start cooking this thing, because this is gonna take a long time to cook. So let's wash our hands. Now this recipe obviously didn't take us that long to put together. It was essentially it's a dump and go meal. So once you have all your ingredients in your slow cooker, you just set your crock pot on high and you cook it for 6 to 8 hours, which is a long time. But as we know, it's something that I've kind of gotten into the habit of cooking my food on low, because I prefer low just because I was doing that. But the recipe says cook on high, so that's what we're doing today. All right. So we're going to put our lid on. So next thing we gotta do, we gotta put the lid on. And we can't cook it like this, but I'm gonna show you again what the meat looks like. So this is what your meat should look like. See, that's what it's gonna look like with all the ingredients in there. So it kind of looks like, if you think about it, it kind of looks like a Mississippi pot roast almost. But, with different seasonings, okay? Because one of the seasonings I use when I make my Mississippi pot roast is the all-you gravy mix. So that's kind of, what it reminds me of, right? Okay, so we are done with the book. Now we're done with the crock pot meal. Now, let's move on. It says to, once we add all the stuff in, it says to cover it says to cover with lid set on high for 6 to 8 hours, which is a long time, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and put our lid on. And let's get this thing going, because it's going to take a while to cook, as I said. Let me show you. Okay. So, I'm going to get my slow cooker and cook it right in this corner. So, now once it's done cooking, we'll come back and we'll show you what it looks like. But we have to do the first part of the cooking process. This takes a while to cook. So, it's on high for between 6 to 8 hours. Now 6 hours it'll be done by 4, but we want it to really, really fall apart. So if you want it to really, really fall apart, then you gotta cook it longer. Oh. And that meat looks so good. Now it kind of, now if you look at the, if you look at the meat, it kind of looks like my Mississippi pot roast, honestly, with those pepperoncinis in there. But honestly, I've never made this recipe before, so I'm really hoping we like it and it's good, okay? Remember, it's my crock pot Birria taco recipe, okay? So it's shredded beef, and it's gonna be so good, okay? So we have to plug it in, and we're cooking on high for 6 to 8 hours. So, you know, it's a long recipe. So let's see, 8 hours. I'm just trying to think, guys. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So dinner, we'll probably cook it for 7 hours, actually. So 6 to 8 hours. So let's do. What can it's all for? 6 hours is fine. High. Enter. Done. Alright, so we got our lid on. We're going to cook it on high for 6 to 8 hours. 6 hours will be fine for the meat. And then we will come back and we'll show you what our crock pot Birria tacos look like. They're going to be so good. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed our recipe. We'll be back in a little bit to show you what it looks like. Bye, vlog on. Peace out. Boom. Okay, bye guys.